University from Buffalo. In low to Cartwright, in deep, beats Kareem, lays it over him, and Smith. Now the three-point line to Lucas. In low to Cartwright. Cartwright, single coverage by Kareem, down the middle, shoots over him. A nice hook is good, a six-footer. Front to Smith. Randy takes it in low to Cartwright, facing the hoop. A 16-foot jumper, nice shot. Pick in 1978, the fourth player pick in the draft. Dribble drive down the middle, bounce to Cartwright, go in. The rebound is to Russell. Long pass, hook right to Cartwright, away from Kareem, underneath, score. Bill Cartwright is straight out, holds the ball, brings it over to Cartwright. He's unguarded, shoots a 17-footer and scores his fourth. Lakers ahead 47-46 as Magic hurries with the dribble. The front court comes in deep, puts it up, and it's knocked out of bounds. A great play by Billy Cartwright. Now the ball to Russell. Cross court over to the unguarded Cartwright, 15-footer, good.
All right, this is Jamaal Bethea with the Clutch Report. I have a very, very special guest. This gentleman decided to grace me with his presence for an interview. I think you guys might recognize this gentleman. He played for the Knicks. He played for the Bulls. He won some championships. He's been doing some awesome work since he retired. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about him coaching. With no further ado, Mr. Bill Cartwright, say hi to the people.
How you doing, guys? Hey, it's really happy to be here. I'm out in California trying to enjoy life. It's March Madness time, so basketball 24/7 on the tube.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely basketball 24/7. Me as well. For starters, let's just talk about you in college. Okay. So you went to the University of San Francisco, correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. Okay, so when you were at the University of San Francisco, you had a very successful college career. So maybe even a little further, let's talk about your roots with basketball. What exactly got you interested in basketball?
I've always been a sports guy. I come from a big family. I have 6 siblings, all sisters. So that kind of encouraged me to get out of the house. So growing up, high school, baseball, basketball, football, kept growing taller. So I had a great high school coach, Dan Risley, where in our area in Elk Grove, California, which is south of Sacramento, we're really the only gym in town that was open. So just learned my skills from him. We had some other bigger players on the team. Another guy that I played with Northern Arizona was Terry Salfer. He was 6'9", so I just learned how to play. We played a lot, and when I mean a lot, more than anybody. Our team, little Elk Grove, California, my junior year, we were undefeated. My senior year, we won a Northern California championship.
Nice.
And then I ended up at USF.
Okay, so you said your junior year you guys went undefeated, so I'm guessing you didn't win the title that year?
When I was a junior, there was no Northern California championship for us to play in. So,
gotcha. Okay.
Unfortunately, because that was a really much better team.
Mm-hmm.
So we were fortunate enough my senior year to get in there. And once we got in there, we figured we might as well win it all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. You play to win, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so about how tall were you when you graduated high school? Since you said you kept growing, just a roundabout, if you remember.
Yeah, 6'11". Once you hit 6'11", it doesn't make a difference. You're just taller than most people. And even though I was tall, I wasn't the fastest guy. I wasn't the strongest guy. I always view it as the most rehearsed guy. So I shot more. I worked more. It's like being in a play. I was really well rehearsed. Everything I wanted to do on the floor. So it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed playing. Practicing, shooting, skill work. And I had great coaches when I was at USF. My coach was Bob Gaylord. Mm-hmm. Bob Gaylord played at USF. This guy was the ultimate athlete. So he taught me how to play not only hard, but he would tell me, Bill, I know you play hard, but now we're going to teach you how to play smart.
Okay, so let's talk about your New York Knicks years. So I know you were talking about playing in Madison Square Garden, but New York was more than that. Talk about why New York was more than just Madison Square Garden.
Well, it's New York City. It's, we get there, huge buildings, Broadway. Saw my first Broadway play there. Meet actors there. Met James Earl Jones there where we saw Fences. That was nice. Really cool. Mm-hmm. So it's just a lot of theater, art. Go to the art museums. Just to be able to hang out there. And the best food on the planet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like Sinister, and you have the opportunity to go to great restaurants because it's such a competitive town. The restaurants are outstanding, so just fun. And I'm 22 years old getting there.
Right.
So to be able to walk around and see all those different things was really cool.
Tell me if you remember, what was your favorite restaurant then?
Well, I will tell you that I went to this one restaurant. It was a Mexican restaurant. And you like restaurants for different reasons. Steak place, boom, that's easy. Italian, easy. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Turtle Lady fan. But we went to Mexico Magico, which happened to be across the street. Mm-hmm. And they had the all-time best margaritas ever.
Okay.
And so when we walked in there, people had their napkins on their head. And we thought that was really strange.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
After one margarita, we had our napkins on our head.
Okay. That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah. So, and also after probably not even 2 margaritas, we were wondering how we're going to get home. Now, we live right across the street. Right across the street, I can see my building.
Right.
So that's how potent those margaritas was.
Ooh,
I'm not sure what the food was like. I still don't know, but I know those margaritas were lethal.
That win last night. Here comes Toby Knight, the left-hander. Inside at Bill Cartwright to the basket. Court play by these two. Cartwright, Turner, spy. Clemens got a hand on that. Good defense, but Cartwright comes away with it. At patent a jumper, he got it, and he's fouled by Unseld.
It's so funny you say that because it's a spot in Harlem that I always talk about called C by C. And C by C is they cook the food in it's almost like a smoker. So you walk in and it's completely square, and then it's just like ice, and then it's just fish on ice. You grab your fish, you keep going, you grab your sides and everything, and you pay for it, and they just smoke it and hand it to you. And I haven't been in New York since December of 23, but I always rave about C by C. So maybe I need to try some Mexican the next time I go.
Yeah. Be careful though.
Yeah. I am. I want to be able to make it across the street. Okay, so playing in New York City, the Knicks are obviously a very polarizing franchise. Talk about the toughness, I would say, especially because, people always talk 80s basketball, the grit, that era where it was just physicality is how they coined it. Just talk about that, the mentality, I guess, of playing for a team like the Knicks.
Well, it was everybody in the league. Everybody's physical. Mm-hmm. That's the way the league played. When guys went across the lane, you could check them. Mm-hmm. I can guard the post with my forearm and a hand. That was legal. Mm-hmm. You can hand check outside. Mm-hmm. And it was a physical game. There's no layups in the game. None. That's a rule. If you get up a layup, you're coming out.
Yeah.
So if you took a foul, if you got to take one, you take one. Mm-hmm. There's no flagrant fouls back in those days.
Right,
guys
it was just
can
fines,
square
right?
off and take a swing. Logs in and connect. They can still play. They're fine. So
Much different game. Yeah.
you know, drive the lane, you get yourself knocked on the ground, and you get up and shoot 2 free throws. So it's survival of the fittest out there. Keep your hands up.
Right.
As something you could get in the head, or you have a tooth knocked out, it doesn't matter. You're just playing. But that was the nature of the beast back in those days. Most guys played, you know, fine. I mean, it was fine. You got some contact. You're just playing. You're just playing through it. So it was more the norm back then. Very few guys are going to intentionally hurt you. You just got to brace yourself up. So, you know, it was great. But that's how we grew up playing anyway. So I played in high school, so you play in college. It's not like today. There's no replays. There's no flagrant fouls, 1 or 2, ridiculous.
Right.
There's none of that.
Right.
You're just playing basketball.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that. No one would intentionally hurt you because, of course, there's always the conversation of like then versus now. Exactly how different, I guess, would you say it is now as far as the rules are concerned? Of course, we have the flagrants and things like that. But was it really massively more physical, or was it just more physical to a degree?
Well, it's just a different mindset. I mean, you can see teams launching 20, 30, 40, 50 threes in a game.
I know.
And it's just not a diverse type of system. So look, for me, the NBA has always evolved. So I try not to judge it. I do. But I try not to. But that's just the style of play of the game now. With us, it was more overall game. And guys played from an advantage. Somebody had a mismatch, you put them on post. And it doesn't matter. It didn't have to be a center. It could be anybody. That could be Mark Aguirre down there. That could be Vinny Johnson down there. That could be Mark Jackson down there. They got an advantage, throw it to them.
Right.
So
exactly.
They don't do that now.
Right.
Why they don't do it, when you find out, let me know. So, because nobody in my generation understands that thinking, but it's what's going on right now. Everything comes back around, so I'm not worried about that. Because the guys are gifted, they're extraordinarily talented, extraordinarily well-conditioned. They're special guys, so they're just playing a different style. Like I said, it shouldn't be judged. We judge it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I like that answer. No judgment. You know, it's just different. I like that a lot, actually. Okay, so question for you: were you shocked when you were sent to Chicago?
Yeah, you know, I played in New York for 9 years, and I should say those 9 years I learned a lot of lessons there. I had great coaches. My first coach is Red Holtzman. Then I got UP Brown. Then I had Bobbio for a minute, and then I got Rick Pitino. So between those 4 coaches in 9 years, you learn the lessons because everybody has a different expectation for you. Everybody has a different vision for you and how you play. And it's kind of up to you to see how you fit in and to see how you're going to be successful. My last year when Rick Pitino was there, I was coming off the bench for the first time in my career. So it was a different mindset that I had to carry. So I had to do more work after practice. And you know, luckily I had really good teammates. Lou York, Rick Tucker, Rick Carlisle was there. And we just work out after practice. And just try to keep ourselves in shape. So I felt that because we worked after practice and kept ourselves sharp, that allowed me, because guys could see that I could still play. I got traded to Chicago, which was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So it was, because I had been rumored so much to be traded, it never happened. I thought, I guess I'm not going to get traded. And then boom, right what I think. I'm in Chicago.
Paxson into the pivot to Cartwright against Rasmussen, jumps over him, and it's Cartwright. 25, first quarter. Jordan has it knocked away by Lever, gets it again. Good pass. From Jordan. Walter Davis about to come to work for Denver. Cartwright over Shea. He's about to come to work for Chicago. 2:55 left in our first quarter. Jordan jumps in, leaves it for Cartwright. We're down to 3:48 counting in the first half. Cartwright.
I was in Hawaii. I just landed, just got to the hotel, and I got a phone call from Jerry Krause, the Bulls GM, said, you got to come to Chicago. I said, now? He said, yeah, right now. I said, I just got here.
Right.
Hawaii. Went to Chicago, had a press conference, met everybody there. Doug Collins was the head coach at that time. And, Jerry was great. And flew back to Hawaii, and then after that, was ready to rock and roll right after that. So it was good. It was good. When I got to Chicago, Doug was great. He said, Bill, you know what you got to do. As a player, I played against Doug and at the end of his career.
Interesting. Okay.
Just like Phil Jackson, I played against him. He was in New Jersey. Doug was in Philly. So I kind of knew those guys a little bit. And he was terrific. Just like, you're a veteran guy. Not worried about it. So, we were pretty much off to the races. And, we had a great foundation for our team. Horace and Scotty were in their second year. So they were still learning. MJ was doing what he's doing. But everybody needed to improve. So, and then we had John Paxson, and John, was always really, really solid. And then we ended up getting guys like Cliff Livingston. That was Will Purdue's first year. Later on, we were able to get B.J. Armstrong, Stacey King, and Scott Williams to kind of keep our foundation intact. We had the best shooter on the planet, and may still be Craig Hodges.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to Craig Hodges.
It was good, but we were, young and trying to find ourselves.
Yeah.
After my first year there, we lost the Pistons. And then that's when Phil took over.
As head coach, yeah.
And that's where everything changed. Offensively, the Texas offense, a triangle, and Johnny Box defense. We were a teaching team, so we had to learn how to play in those systems. We had really, really competitive teams. So after we lost again to the Pistons for the second year in a row in the Eastern Conference Finals, we were determined to come back. So everybody worked. And it was remarkable. I think maybe 2 weeks after the season was over, everybody was back working out. So if you can imagine.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Yeah, so we were on a mission. And I always give the Pistons credit because after we were able to defeat them the third time around, we were able to win 3 championships.
Right.
So they showed us the way. And once we got there, we didn't give it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you took them 7 games in 1990, so it was like y'all probably had to feel like, we know we can beat these guys. So just a matter, I guess, of locking in You know what I mean? And just really applying yourselves. So, like, culturally speaking, what would you say was the culture difference between, like, the Knicks and the Bulls?
Well, I'm going to say this. Those guys are just better than us. You know, they were a better team. They were a tougher defensive team. And the Pistons get a lot of credit for being really tough and defensive. They could score. Those guys could really score the ball. Mm-hmm. And if you look at those scores, it's like, holy smokes, those guys can put up some numbers.
They put up 145 in a playoff game, yeah.
So, we just had to learn how to be able to guard, to be able to play our game, open it free. We were a full court team. Mm-hmm. So the Pistons would slow us down, and then we had to learn how to be able to guard them and then just attack them.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where we found ourselves and took off.
What would you say were some key differences between Doug Collins and Phil Jackson?
I think that Doug was more traditional. He would call plays. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of plays. Mm-hmm. We were more free-flowing in the triangle because the triangle is an offense in itself. Not that you can't call plays out of it. Mm-hmm. But you don't need to call a play.
Right.
Because as soon as play starts in transition. We have a transition format. Mm-hmm. And these are the options out of it. Once we're in the offense, we have options out of it. If you can't go to option 1, you go to 2, 3, 4. So if you have the ball, you have 4 people to pass to. And out of those options is a play. Mm-hmm. So you just go from there. So it's a systems play. Mm-hmm. I know you're going to ask me, why don't teams do that now? I don't know. We only won 11 championships, so don't worry about it. Just keep it. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Well, I've began to study the triangle because I'm just curious about it. You know, I wonder about that system and some of the things I've seen on video. Like you said, it's a set within itself, and you can break off of that set depending on what the defense is doing and, you know, things like that. So I just was really curious as far as like the different types of styles of coaching. So you said Doug called more plays, whereas though the triangle within itself is what it is, and you kind of just break off of it, correct?
Yeah, and if you need to be able to get a shot for somebody, you can do that. Mm-hmm. But it just allows you to play and move the ball. And it allows everybody to be involved in the offense. There's a lot of offenses now that are totally dominated by the person that has the ball. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the Lakers in Indiana, and you're going to see more dribbling in a quarter than you see an entire Bulls game because we just move the ball. Just move
past it. Yeah.
Pass the ball.
Right.
Pass the ball. Trust your teammates.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say that. I remember watching The Last Dance. Jordan said, when Phil first got there, he didn't like the fact that the ball was taken out of his hands. But I think over time he learned that when the ball moves, that's actually better if there's more threats on the court than just one player. At times I felt like that's kind of what happened with LeBron. It was always kind of just the LeBron system. Whereas though you can kind of game plan against one player who's dominant, you know what I mean? Versus a free-flowing system where kind of really several people on the court are a threat at one time.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't thrilled with it. But I think once you get in it and you learn how to use the system, because ultimately your best player is going to get the most shots anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But what it does, it allows others to be able to take advantage of their abilities as well. Mm-hmm. So it took us half a year. And I remember this on a road trip. I think we beat the Denver, for everybody to kind of embrace the offense. Mm-hmm. So because of the movement of the ball and ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. just briefly, just talk. You know, everyone talks about Michael and, you know, the different conversations, GOAT and best player. Just talk about what it was like playing with him. I guess influence wise, as the leader of the team. Just talk about what it was like.
Okay. Michael was a presence on the floor, just because what he could do on the court. But I think that with this Last Dance, people get I don't know what he was supposed to be. He was a good player. He was on the floor. So it's like, what kind of player was he like? Well, in New York, I played with Bernard King, and I can guarantee you he was as dominant as Bernard King on the floor. And Patrick Ewing at the time on the floor. So his presence and dominance was on the court. Because we had, you know, for me, I was one of the old guys on the team. I think when I got there, being the old guy, I was like 31. That's how young our team was. And 31, 32 years old.
You're the old guy at 31, right?
And also, you got to understand is that for an old school guy like me, I listened to my guys who were older than me. So when I got to Chicago, these guys for me were just a bunch of young punk kids.
Right.
So all these guys were just young kids, but they were extraordinarily talented. So he was our best player, and that's how I got to view him. If that makes any sense to you.
It does. It does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what year did you retire from the NBA?
96, I think.
96.
96, okay. 97. My last year was in Seattle.
Right. Okay. Did you go straight into coaching after that, or was there something else you did, or a few years in between, or what did you do pretty much right after you retired?
I took a year off. I went to grad school with USF, got my master's in organizational development.
Nice.
And so I was going to be a business person. Through all my brilliance, I thought that, an opportunity, I was going to be a McDonald's operator. That's where I was headed. So then I got a phone call from Jerry Krause, and basically he talked me into coaching. And I kind of viewed that as, this is what I should be doing. So I ended up going back to Chicago. I was in Sacramento. I was having a great time. I was coaching my kids, hitting golf balls every day. Back to the cold weather in Chicago. And it was great.
Right.
Great learning experience. With Phil, it was the same staff. Phil, Tex Winter, who I learned the most basketball from. Frank Hamlin was there, who was a great coach, great assistant coach. Jim Clemens was there. And I just really found out what it's like to be a coach and what kind of coach I would want to be. And that's a teacher of basketball.
Yeah.
And, you know, probably the best lesson that I learned from Phil was that Phil's really mindful about his words. So because you can get a coach's meeting and guys are like, this guy's terrible, this guy's not doing what we need to do. Phil would say, look, we're going to figure out a way to make this guy better. And it was just a much better tone to be around, to where things were balanced. We won a lot of games. We never got too high. If we happened to lose a couple, never got too low. Every day was a building of the next day.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and Phil, introduced George Mumford, where guys would learn how to meditate, which was really cool for me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of embraced that to be able to turn your mind off.
Yeah.
Now, some guys, don't mention any names, Horace Grant, he would fall asleep. But it was a great learning experience and different mindset to have after practice, where you can just relax yourself and have different thoughts. So it was good. It was good. It was even though we were the best team playing. I thought that our mindset was we were able to focus on different things other than basketball.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we've heard about the meditation, and that's actually I meditate every day. I'm analytical, so if I don't meditate, my brain is just gonna run. So I think that's a very important thing to teach your team, so that everybody can kind of be on the same page. You know what I mean? I think that's very important.
Everybody has different levels of that.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, it's more of a tool that you don't have that you now have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool because I had never meditated before. I'd been in the league, 10 years. Never done that before.
Right.
Another guy I should mention when I was in Chicago was Alvar Vermeil.
Okay.
Now, Al Vermeil was our strength and conditioning coach, and he was awesome because he introduced me to Olympic-style lifting that I had never done before. Mm-hmm. That was specifically for basketball. Mm-hmm. He introduced me to a running coach. So I never knew there was how to run. I just ran.
A running technique, right? Yeah, exactly.
You are a running coach, and you learn the proper way to run.
Yeah.
And once again, it's just teaching. It's giving you skills. It's giving you different things to think about. And I thought that was really refreshing, really cool to have that.
I forget where I heard this, but they were saying that when Mike first started, I think the league was in like 79 countries viewership wise. When he retired, it was in 215. And so just talking about the revenue and how different it was when you first started and how different it is now. What do you think of that? Like the amount of money some of these players really make nowadays. What do you think? Not like a positive or negative, just kind of what you think.
It's in all sports. So where there's TV money, there's cable money, mm-hmm. and then once the players through their agents were able to really find out how much money was available, and free agency, guys were able to make a lot of money. And you got to remember when that kind of all started, and it started in the 80s when I came in with Bird and Magic.
Yep.
That's when the interest, the curiosity, the rivalries, all that started. Mm-hmm. Now, when MJ came in with guys like Bo Jackson, now all of a sudden we're doing commercials.
Right.
And that's where that took over.
That's true. It's funny because Franz Wagner, who played for the Magic, he averaged 19 points last year, and they gave him a 5-year, $224 million contract.
There you go.
And I was like, imagine not even and I mean, this year, to me, he's starting to prove, I guess, why they saw like the future in him to invest. But it's just imagine not even averaging 20 points and getting to $224 million. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Once you kind of lock yourself into a team and the ownership likes you, and more importantly, the fans like you, you can make a bunch of dough. So you can have a good year, contract's up, we got to get him back. Mm-hmm. Money's available, boom. That doesn't mean he's staying there, though. These guys get traded and moved every minute. It's crazy to see what goes on.
Yeah. It's true.
That's why you see the Lakers in the situation they're in, where you have top 5 players. Dokic's traded from Dallas, insane, but it can happen. So I'm not sure that's ever happened. The face of a franchise get traded mid-season. I don't think that's ever happened before. But
yeah, not to my knowledge either. That rocked everybody. It was like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy. So
yeah,
but that's the nature of the beast. That makes for good morningside conversation.
It does.
Because just when you think you've seen it all, something else is going to come.
Okay, so after retiring and coaching for a bit, what have you been doing since? Like, what endeavors are you into? What how have you kept yourself busy?
Well, let's look at this, because I with Chicago, and I don't sugarcoat it. It's like, you're in Chicago, what happens? Fired. And then I'm in Jersey for 4 years, so what happens? 4 years, fired. And then you're in Phoenix for 4 years, what happens after that? Fired. So then after that, I came back, and that's when I went to Japan for a year to take over a team. They were 5-19, and we were able to turn them. And like I said, if it wasn't so far, I would have stayed there. So I came back home. I coached the Mexican national team for half a year until their season was over. And then that was the exact opposite experience that I had in Japan. So I came back home and had an opportunity to meet Father Paul Fitzgerald at USF, and he hired me. And my wife says this. She said, this has been the longest we've been anywhere. This is going to be our 10th year back at USF, where I'm director of initiatives at school.
Nice. Okay.
That's development fundraising, because nobody knows what that is. So it's been great. Being great being back at the school, being great with seeing a lot of my old alumni, going to all the games. We just got knocked out of the NIT. We lost 3 of our starters this year with injury.
Oh, man.
One and 2 of them at the end of the year when we were playing pretty good. I'm sorry, not 3, 4. Lost 4 starters.
Ouch, man.
So, but our guys fought. They represented us well. We have a really good coach with Chris Gerlickson and his staff. They do a really nice job. So it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. Let's hope we keep it quiet and we're able to stay there for a while longer. And also, what I wanted to mention is that through my journey that I'm here, my book.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hold it up higher.
Yeah, you see it?
A little higher. Just want to get it in the frame as much as possible. There we go. Bill Cartwright, Living Life at the Center.
At the center. You can get that at Bill-Cartwright.com. You're not going to get it on Amazon, so you got to go to Bill-Cartwright.com.
I like that.
My wife and I wrote this ourselves, and we self-published it. You see the forward on there. It's by Dusty Baker. Dusty's a man here in Sacramento.
Dusty Baker,
He did the forward for me. So check it out. And
yes, we'll definitely check that out. Absolutely.
To be able to have the time to be able to write that, and it tells about all those exploits that we just talked about. So, and I'm happy that it's over, because it needed to be over.
Writing a book is tedious. Yeah.
It's just like, what else can we add? And it's like, no, we're going to end it.
Right.
But it was fun, because I got stuff in there from my sisters, my high school, college, NBA teammates, to be able to tell my story about my family, which is the foundation of who I am. So it was awesome. Awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to check out your book.
There you go.
Definitely.